This pack is getting kind of heavy.
Oh, and I forgot to turn my mic on in the first place. Anyways, I'm going to step away for a second. I forgot to grab my water. I'll be back. Hey, we're back. So as I was saying, this is Babbaginator. We're in the long dark. We're currently hanging out here. Crumbling Highway. What's our plan? I mean, are we just going to craft? I mean, that's a thing we could do.
I'm not sure I can carry much more.
So yeah, let's see what our present situation is. We have hooks, we have line. We need to make fishing tackle so that we can repair stuff. Fishing tackle, yeah. Oh, we're out of cloth. 2. Another birch sapling. Another maple sapling. Okay, I think we already have the boots. Right, we already made the boots, so we want... we need another hide. Ooh. Yeah, the water went down the wrong hole. Okay. So it's been a pretty busy day. Been working a lot today. Had a few different meetings and consults. Well, let's see. That's what tomorrow's consultations. Today was mainly check-in meeting with professor, or not professor, the librarian that I do my professional experience with, and just following up on where I am with my report, which is not done, but she says get it done by March. Good enough. It's fine with me. A lot of research and
If I can drop any of this gear.
research and testing to try to get something working for my newest project, which so far is turning out not to be too bad. On the whole, I feel like this term is not too bad for Claude. I have something to work on this weekend. Let's do it on Wednesday. I guess a couple things to work on. So, I think that's my roommate. I'm gonna hop off for a second and just I'll be back in a second. Alright, false alarm. Thought I heard them come in, but they're not in yet, so. trying to make an effort. It is so easy when things get busy to like barely interact with each other, even though you live in the same place. But I'm trying to make a point of like maintaining some sort of social interaction, right? Where are the wolves? We hear them. Haven't seen them for a while. Oh, we just missed him. Okay, let's go find that wolf. Hey, I'm back. Yeah, good to see you, Roller. I just stepped away a little bit. I heard my roommate come in, so I figured I'd say hi, socialize for a second. Okay. See if we can get the wolves to play nicely here. Run in a straight line somewhere. That works. I can't believe we have such a long stay here. It's day 30. We don't leave until day 36. We got a 9-day stay in this place, and we are going to run out of food unless we can slowly work our way through the wolf and get lucky on our whatchamacallit, beachcomber. And there goes that. Should have picked a more sheltered spot. Our bedroll with us. Do we think this will go? Nope. Okay. Most likely not going to work, but we'll try. Okay, let's get a nice shelter. Oh. I hate that. I hate that. We fumbled that shot. Not good. Come back, buddy. Okay, he's back. Kill this guy, and then we'll have 2 wolves to eat. Gotta time it just right. Right. Okay, no more villains here. We've dealt with everyone. Good job. But wait, there's more. I mean, it's possible. Not super possible.
And this pack is getting kind of heavy.
Oh. Lucky us. More maple. Yeah, we switched this whole thing out, but I think we're going to stay here for the night. Not much else we can do. We can't. Too windy to start a fire out there. Well, I guess we could go to the cave, but yeah, we're here. Should we do it? Maybe we'll do it. Avoid cabin fever, and we'll just run to the cave.
I'm not sure I can carry much more. My fingers feel numb.
See, this way at least we have some extra water. So I don't know if you heard, but LD, Long Dark Forever, is thinking about restarting the All Your Bases tournament. I think I mentioned that on a previous stream. Anyways, it's one of my favorite tournaments. And I would love to go back and do more of it. So, hopefully it works out schedule-wise for me. Okay, what do we got? We have cattails. We have crackers. We have broth. No, we have burdock. So how was your day, Roller? What were you up to? Oops. 6, 21, 22. Tomorrow, what's my schedule like tomorrow? I know I've got a number of things going on tomorrow. The big thing is got a team meeting. We got a consult with someone that wants to do what's called the digital critical, critical edition, which basically is if you are doing anything in textual studies, like studying literature in any language or anything that looks at manuscripts, you can encode it in a certain way so that you can associate different, every word or every phrase will have associated meanings or context built into the, so it's coded so that when you mouse over things or when you interact with the text, it will pop up with the information you're looking for. And then in some cases that manuscript has many versions, and then you have to be able to document the variants as well. So when like an academic says they want to do a critical edition or a digital critical edition, it's figuring out how to support them in doing that. But the fun thing is that no one on my team has actually worked on one before. So it's going to be blind leading the blind. I've done a lot of reading over the last week, which hopefully will get me up to speed, but I don't know. If they have a very technical question, I might not be able to help them. And then what else is up? D&D in the evening, so which I'm very much looking forward to. That's the Weird West campaign, which I probably should plan a couple more encounters for. Ooh. I think the big news is that I will be going to Los Angeles. That has been confirmed for the opera workshops. So towards the end of February, during my reading week. 3. Need 4 saplings, 2 guts, 1 deer hide. We can make ourselves a travois. Good stuff. That's how we're going to pass time.
I need to find. I could eat anything.
It's going to be cold out there. We should wait.
I never thought I'd be dying from starvation.
Okay, now we have no wolves. Let's go and make ourselves at home.
I can't feel my feet. Oh, so cold.
Let's try it on this side.
Come on, little fire. Perfect.
See if it'll be warm enough. Hopefully it'll be warm enough. Two more sticks. Or one piece of coal. I guess one piece of coal. Okay, let's see. Let's get the hide, the bits out here. Okay, so one wolf harvested, second wolf on its way.
I'm not gonna be able to carry this load for much longer.
Okay, let's dump one load of meat over here. And get on to harvesting the other one. Oops. Just what I
Barely walk
wanted.
with this much gear. Come on, little fire.
8 minutes. So next Wednesday is Lunar New Year, and it turns out that originally I was not going to be available on Wednesday, but I have shuffled around my schedule, so I am going to participate in. We have a Lunar New Year's celebration for my program, so that'll be good. Fun to do something with others. Tomorrow you'll pick up the last few important pieces for your new laptop. Extra solid state drive stick, better memory, USB clip. So it's on its way to a recovery. Back in working order. Yeah, totally. I mean, when you have the opportunity to do so, might as well, right? My big excitement this weekend, I'm going to Costco on Saturday morning. Morning, before it gets crazy. And then, then I have lunch with some friends. Should be fun. Then I guess I'm streaming Saturday night. I don't know. Most likely. It's mainly just to beat the rush. No, I was doing kind of an inventory in the house to figure out what we needed, my roommate and I. And I also got my annual Costco check, which you might as well use because there's nowhere else you can use it. So. There is a grocery store on my way back from campus by bus, but I never shop there, just on my bus ride home because I'm just tired and I want to go home and rest a little bit. I don't want to think about shopping. So.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Okay, how are we doing here? Cooking, long way to level 5. But oops. Okay, let's leave some meat here. Then we're going to go over to the cave, leave some more meat over there.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
One of the things I would like to do is figure out a way to better soundproof my room. Not so much to keep sound from coming in, but because, you know, when I'm streaming at night, my roommate and the adjoining room, the next room over, is usually trying to get some rest. So I've been trying to figure out a better way to soundproof. I may have to do the curtain method. Get like a temporary curtain rod installed and have like a heavy material. And it helps dampen the transmission of the sound through the wall if it's away from the wall, so there's an air gap. Yeah, the egg carton thing, that actually only helps dampen the sound within the room. It doesn't actually prevent it from transmitting through the wall. So if my concern were like echo, then that would be helpful, but it's not usually my concern. Okay, I think we will spend the night out here. Can we make anything else? No, not really. Make cooking oil. Yeah, a thin layer of sand. You know what they say, I read up on it, they said the best insulation would be, or best soundproofing would be actually more drywall. Like drywall and then like some type of an insulator in between, and then more drywall, and then there's just more distance, more of an air gap or some sort of a dampening thing, and then yeah, it helps. But I'm not going to buy a bunch of drywall, and I can't modify the apartment, so. Yeah. No, so I think curtains, or I just like blankets. They recommend like the moving blankets as being good, but they're heavy, right? So you have to figure out a way to suspend them without causing damage. I thought about getting a mattress topper and using that against the wall, but when I read up on it, they said most mattress toppers do not have. They'll again deaden the echo, but they actually won't stop the fact that sound transmits through wall. They'll make it a little bit less, but they're not as. Yeah, it's not as effective. There's just other ways to do it, and most of it is through like additional barriers that have a stop gap, an air gap of some sort. So the curtains are surprisingly like one of the more effective ways to do it. Also, like a massive wall of books, that would also do it. Which I can do. I could just stick more bookcases in. Ooh. Yeah. Maybe. Oops. Okay. Oh, you didn't need to do that. Oh, we healed.
I could eat a horse.
So one of the things I've been trying to get off the ground again is last term I was able to get a couple dinner parties in for my poetry potluck series, but so far I have not done it. January was kind of a wash, so I haven't been able to book anyone. Partly I've been busy, partly everyone else is busy. So for February, I think we're going to try for first week of February, which will mean most likely that Saturday on the first weekend of February, I will not be on stream because I will be hosting a party. But it will be fun. I kind of miss having this type of small group interaction that doesn't involve school, right? Although this time I discovered I have a couple classmates who are in my neighborhood, so like within a few bus stops. In one case, one's like literally walking distance, like 3 blocks from me, so figure it'd be good to get a few people together, and then we'll see if we can find a couple more.
Getting weak. Barely walk with this much gear.
Ugh, I'm a little sleepy already. Oh, I'm sleepy. I'm trying to go for another 20 minutes.
Sure getting cold.
Oh.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Hmm. Yay, more coal. Okay. What's to be done now? Nothing else to do here. Hey folks, those of you who are brand new and lurking, here's a little bit about me. I'm a writer, a former computer games programmer, and currently studying a master's in library and information science to become an academic librarian. But I've worn a lot of hats over the years, and I really like playing the long dark, and so always come up with different challenges, usually at the interloper difficulty setting. So we're doing one called Luck of the Draw, where we wander through, every time we come to a new region, we have to pull a card, and it tells us the nature of the challenge for that region, which we have to fulfill before we're allowed to leave. So, yay. So we came to Crumbling Highway and we pulled a 9 of diamonds, which means we have to spend 9 days here, which is not good because there's nothing here. So we've got only 4 days left, and then we're done. Ooh. Oh, this is bad. I had dinner earlier, and now suddenly, inexplicably, I'm feeling hungry, but I don't want to get into the habit of eating second dinner. There are jokers. We have not decided what we're doing with them. Mm-hmm. 4 days left.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
We get nothing when we dismantle it, so we're not doing it. Okay.
Cold is making my head feel thick.
Oh, I'm getting sleepy. I don't think I'm gonna make it the full 2 hours tonight. I think I'll probably just wrap up soon. Focus is disappearing.
Too cold to think.
Okay. Oh, so sleepy. Not good. Okay, so already been all these different places. I mean, beachcombing is what's left for next time, I think. Oh. Okay, there we go. Sleepy, 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 sleepy. Okay. Oh, too sleepy. I'm gonna wrap up early. So let's see here. What do we have? We have day 32. Which means we have 4 days left. So we only managed to get 2 days done today, but it is what it is. Don't mix up your list. Okay, this is a save. Okay, so let's figure out what we're gonna do. We're at 32 now. And we've killed 2 wolves this stream. See, we were productive. Okay. Yeah. So let's wrap up with 1 poem and call it a night. Find someone to raid. Yeah, Burials. That's an old classic. Okay, so we'll take that one or this one, conditional. I'll take Burials. Okay, so this is from my first book of poetry, The Lost Country of Sight. And this poem has a great story behind it. I'll read the poem, then we'll talk about it. Okay. From The Lost Country of Sight, published by Anhinga Press, 2008, winner of the 2007 Philip Levine Prize. This is a poem entitled Burials. Pulling through Montana in the snow, we cling to the taillights of the last car, blurring back into the darkness. Like the inside of a coffin, my father says, as if lying. Yeah, let me start over again. And apparently I'm tired enough that I can't even get through a few lines here. Burials. Pulling through Montana in the snow, we cling to the taillights of the last car, blurring back into the darkness. Like the inside of a coffin, my father says, as if knowing the exact shade the Dead Sea, lying stiff, frozen eyes peering up through closed lids. He shifts in his seat, watches the road disappear, thinks again of dying and the burials we've seen, his father's simple reduction to ashes. How small the urn, how light, for a man that stood 6'3", carried a boy on his shoulders, lived on trains as a youth, picked apples as a man. This past summer, watching him thin to disappearing, blurring out lines between lives. My father trying to return pieces, fragments, time, the body burning, the dark smells of crematoriums, funeral homes, and pale-faced lawyers. Something merges, ends, and begins. My father placing the ashes back into the air, offerings to the skies, to the seas, unaware how Buddhist he is at this moment, how the faint sound of bagpipes echoes, how the ashes fall catching light, reflecting something back into the silence, the dark birth of the sun coming into view. So this poem, I trace this poem to being like the start of my, like the point in my writing career where I finally felt like I figured out how to write a poem that I was happy with. This is one of the oldest poems in the collection. This was written while I was still an undergraduate still pursuing a computer science degree, and I had gotten permission to take these graduate level creative writing workshop classes. And this was the second semester of these classes these workshops I was in. And the professor that time around for the second class was this amazing Welsh poet by the name of Leslie Norris. And he was so incredibly insightful and patient and kind in every single way when he was helping us, like, individually, as well as like introducing us to a deeper way of thinking about poetry and writing. And not in a way that was like self-aggrandizing. It wasn't like trying to make it about himself. It was always about the work and always about being patient with it. Anyways, I wrote this poem, and the poem's really about my father, and it takes a couple things and blends them together and bends the history a little bit in order to do it. When I was in university as an undergraduate, I got a phone call at some point from my father, and it was to tell me that his father had just passed away. And it was the first moment I'd ever heard my father and thought to myself, he is not my father. He is someone else's son. And then the second thought that came was, one day I will be him, grieving my father. And for him, he had never really fully resolved his relationship with his father. They had had some struggles over the years. It wasn't that there was any hatred or anything. It was just like a disconnection. I think my father thought perhaps it was because personality-wise, he was probably the closest to being like his mother, and he was the youngest. Or not the youngest, he was pretty close to being the youngest. I think his sister Peggy was the youngest. And his mother had passed away pretty early. After my father had gotten married, but still pretty early. And so for my grandfather, I think perhaps there was something about it was awkward to be around my father because his son, my father, was too much of a reminder of the person that he loved who was gone. So we think that might have been part of it. But for whatever reason, my grandfather was much more like of his hands. He worked with his hands. He did numbers. He did other things, but he was very good with certain aspects of working with his hands and whittling and carving and doing things like that. And he did spend a good chunk of his life working in factories and working in orchards, and at some point in time traveled on the rail to the next town looking for work. So, and my father was very much a person that worked with his mind, worked with language. And so I think that was another sort of separation between the two. So I take the phone call and I blend it with a different experience where my father and my uncle, my mother's brother, had driven down to pick me up. That was a year that I'd flown from Utah to Minot, North Dakota, because it was cheaper to fly within the U.S. than it was to fly into Canada to go into Saskatchewan. And so they had said, we'll come down and pick you up. So they drove across the border, came and picked me up from Minot, North Dakota. And on the way back, we got hit by this incredibly terrible snowstorm. The blizzard was so bad that you could see the taillights of the car in front of you, but the road was already washed out. There was no sign of the tracks. You couldn't follow the tracks of the car in front of you because they were already gone. And that really stuck with me. So I took that image of like, you can see the lights ahead of you, but the tracks are already gone, and put it into the poem as well. And there is like this horrible pun that's built into the second part of the poem, or the second stanza in the poem. Like the inside of a coffin, my father says, as if knowing the exact shade the Dead Sea, lying stiff, frozen eyes peering up through closed lids, is like a whole string of wordplay, but at the same time, it's a type of like humor that my father would have had too. So like the exact shade is either like, is that the color or is it like the shade as in the ghost, right? Lying stiff. Well, of course, the corpse is lying stiff. Frozen eyes peering up through closed lids. Their eyelids or the lid of the coffin, right? So all these things are coming into play. Yeah, and then the ending part is closer to reality. I was not there when my father and his siblings went and scattered the ashes for, my grandfather, but I heard about it, and that they had gone to the seashore, on Vancouver Island and cast it into the ocean, scattered. But the wind blew up and blew it back into their face at one point. It was all very awkward. But I remember thinking about that description of what happened and how, in this moment, how my two heritages kind of weirdly combine. And there was something about it that reminded me of my time in Taiwan. It reminded me too of these ideas that like in Buddhism, there is this cycle that you keep returning, trying to learn something new. And so this offering into the ashes, into the air, the sea, it just blends back into this circle of nature and circle of life type of feel. But at the same time, there's the sound of the bagpipes, which is the Scottish side, which is my grandfather's side. And then really kind of the reason why I consider this like the really start of the type of poetry that I really wanted to write, and figuring out like this is it, this is the thing I want to do, was I'd written the poem and I got all the way to the end, and I had this last line that I'd written, and I brought it to my professor, to Leslie Norris, and I said, like, I feel like this is it. This is finally like a poem. It feels like a poem to me. It feels like this is the voice that I want to have in poetry. I read it through and he really liked it a lot. And then he said, I have one suggestion, or one question, he said. He says, what would happen if you change this one word in the last line to this other word? He didn't tell me to do it. He just said, like, he just invited me to think about it and to read it out loud. And so what it was the last line of the poem used to say, the dark rising of the sun coming into view, which was a reference to the fact we'd driven all night and the storm finally breaks and the sun rises as we're getting back into Saskatchewan. And so that was a very literal sort of thinking about that moment. And then he said, what would happen if you changed rising to birth? And he didn't read it for me. He just told me what would happen if you changed this. And then I read it out loud again. And I said, the dark birth of the sun coming into view. And right there, you have the homophone, right? So it sounds the same as the sun, as in like the sun. The father becomes a son in this moment. And the son, me as well, also becoming aware of the father in this moment. And then also it does take on kind of a religious emblem as well, because it echoes sort of the rising of the sun, the birth of the sun, in sort of that Christian sort of symbolism as well. And all these different layers kind of unpack themselves in this moment when he said, what would happen if you changed this one word? And then I realized this is the best type of instruction that you could get, is someone who mentors you not by telling you what to do, but inviting you to think about what happens, and never telling you you have to do it. It's just giving you an opportunity to experience something, a moment of understanding, of awakening, of epiphany, and letting you have the power to do that by you making the decision to try something different, to sound it out for yourself, and have that discovery moment, instead of having someone else read it to you and then you feel like you have to subscribe to their idea. He would invite us to step into the poem and to try something different. which is really, really wonderful and amazing and generous. And so as a writing coach and as an instructor, I've tried to adopt the same philosophy that it's about, teaching isn't about enforcing your view, your interpretation, your approach, and making people subscribe to it, but rather it is an opportunity, a space of invitation, where out of respect and care, you offer someone an opportunity to think about something else. And you don't dictate to them how to do it or what to do. You simply invite them. And what they do with it is on them. They can choose to take it or leave it. They can go a completely different direction. But it's clearly understood as an invitation and not as a command or direction. And I think that's really kind of a really great way to think about teaching, as really invitation instead. So anyways, my big ramble. Thank you all. Let's see, what are we going to do here? I think we're going to find someone to raid. Let's see who is up right now. The real be real? Okay. Okay, someone is pretty new. We'll see how this has more followers than me, but is new to the game. Okay. Okay. We'll try a new person. No guarantees. We'll see if this person seems like talks about history. We'll find out. New to TLD. We will be back again, I think, Saturday night. Okay. Thank you all. Thanks again. We'll see you later.